When I was 15 years old, I became a blackout drinker from my very first drink because I was trying to just blunt any feelings because I knew I was gay. I knew there was something different or wrong, actually. And I grew up in a small town of 12,000 people in Iowa. We would go to, on Wednesdays, we were forced to go to the catechism, and Pastor Thoreen, Pastor Thoreen, actually in the textbook, the religious textbook, there was a photograph of two men, at an altar, and he stood there and preached to all of us about how it was sinful, it was wrong against God's law, and, they were going to hell. I was an athlete, so Fellowship of Christian Athletes was the group that you just joined. And, the cardinal sin that was most unforgivable in God's eyes was being gay, being a homosexual. You were going to go to hell. So, I was like this two-dimensional, I just went drunk for 10 years as a two-dimensional character, not a fully developed three-dimensional, human being. I was really scared, alone, living in a town of 12,000 people, and I seriously thought I was going to go to hell. And that terrified me. Now I think it might be a fun place. So one night I came home, and I was beyond drunk. Really drunk. And sat down in my bed, propped up, because I needed some assistance, and wrote out a letter and had loaded one of my father's revolvers and was going to blow my head off that night. And fortunately, I guess, for me, I passed out sitting straight up in my bed, and that's exactly how I woke up in the morning. And I'm glad I didn't do it that night because I looked at the notes, the letter, it was, you couldn't read it. So, it totally illegible. It would have been really embarrassing way to go. So, okay, I came out to my mother, and her reaction was, "Jesus Christ, you're a gay." And then she got in her car and drove away from the house as fast as she could. She wrote me hate mail for years. On my birthday, I got a phone call, "Happy birthday." I come from this older family where trust funds are kind of like they rule your life. If anyone threatens them, you practically want to die. And so, "Oh, happy birthday, son. By the way, your father and I have decided that we're removing you from the trust because you know how you people are." So it was, it was really rough. And so I guess, I joined a fraternity when I was at the University of Iowa. And back then, we would sit around, and I participated in it. What would we do if there was a fag in the fraternity? How would we get rid of him? Because we can't have that. We'll be known as the gay fraternity. This past weekend, I was in Pennsylvania with a group of my fraternity brothers, undergrads, from all over the eastern seaboard, and they showed a video on bystander effect, like how uncomfortable does a situation become before you risk social, being ostracized socially for saying something. And one of the kids in the video talked about how people say, "Oh, that's so gay," or calls, "Hey, you fag." And all the guys in the room, and they didn't have to agree with us. There was nothing that said they had to agree. They didn't know that I was gay. They all agreed. One kid turned around to somebody and said, "Well, you wouldn't say the N-word to somebody claiming to not have any intention of hurting them. So why would you say fag or gay? Why is that acceptable?" And then one kid stood up and said, "My little brother is gay, and I need, help dealing with it." And then another kid stood up, an undergrad, in front of all these brothers and said, "I am gay." To which, I thought, I'm older. I thought my ears were. Afterwards, I went to another facilitator. I said, "Did that kid just come out?" And he had. And these students didn't blink an eye. It was like a non-event. So I guess I think things do get better. It may not be perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better today than it was back when I was a kid. Thanks.